What's up, everybody? This is Earl D, and I am your host for the Bear Black and Brown podcast. Welcome to a new season of Bear Black and Brown. It has been a minute, and I'm not going to get into all the details of why we haven't had Bear Black and Brown podcast in a while, because I am so excited for our guest today to share with me that I want to share with you is Monique, and she is someone we encountered on Instagram several years ago. And I'm not going to say too much, but just to say I think you're going to be excited to hear her story and find a lot of really resonant experience from her story. And so I want to welcome you again to the Bear Black and Brown podcast, produced by clothesfreelife.com. And Bear Black and Brown is designed to focus on the experiences of Black and Brown people in the naturist and nudist community. We want to highlight those experiences for those of us who are already there, and for those of us who are just maybe dipping our toes in the water or trying to figure out what is this all about. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you and welcome to our first season episode of Bear Black and Brown podcast, Monique. Monique, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm not kidding when I said I'm excited to have you on the podcast as our first episode for this new season, because I think you represent the kind of individual that we're really trying to connect with. And as we've talked over the years since our first encounter on Instagram, I think I've seen some growth and development around this whole issue and practice of nudism and naturism. So tell me, how did you get started in this, and what was that all about? How did you get going?
Well, actually, my start was actually back in 2012 when I had a nude photo shoot. So that was kind of like my first, just to actually, put myself in a position to be vulnerable and to be open and free in front of somebody that I was literally meeting for the first time. And so just that experience alone, just to, have somebody, have that invitation to allow me to tap into that within myself was just very freeing. And I definitely will say it was a life-changing experience for myself. And yeah, and so I guess I got hooked because I ended up doing like 2 more photo shoots after that. So that kind of was like my start technically since in 2012. But I will say 2017 was like officially when I started to get a little bit more serious. And I will say it has become more of a spiritual practice for me, and, and also, working on myself and self-love and so forth. So I would say, yes, 2012, I had my first experience, but 2017 was when it really was the pivotal point of, I'm taking it a bit more serious.
So would you say that it started as a physical expression and then became more spiritual?
I would say, yeah, because it was, yes, I dealt with, body self-esteem and insecurity issues and so forth. So, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to give it a try, just to try to break that somewhat. But then when I really started to understand the in-depths of it and how freeing it is and, how it really touched me, then I was just like, I'm going to have to just, get a little bit more serious about this. It's not a casual thing. It's not just, just something to do, or just like a, like the old school saying, YOLO, you only live once. I'm just going to just do it. No, it really became, it was spiritual. It definitely became an important factor in my life. So, yeah.
Right. So on the spiritual side, we talk a lot at coachfreelife.com about this concept of new gymnosophy. It's a new way to approach what we call naked wisdom. There's something that seems to happen when you can engage in this practice of nudism, naturism, that's more than just physical. You talked about self-love. How did that factor in for you?
So for me, it's like, I mean, everybody has their own, way of how they, whether it's, they feel that they need to, feed their mind more, or, just to experience more things in the world. But I think within yourself, especially with self-love, it's like, you know, I mean, even with just wearing a bathing suit, in a way you're still, covering yourself and hiding certain things. You have women that would even, like a cover up even with a bathing suit. But, when you are bare, you don't have anything. It's like you have no choice but to accept exactly how you are, how God designed you. So it's like, you have no
Mm,
choice but to accept that, to love that, to honor that. And I think, it kind of
hmm
just puts you in, you have no choice but to love yourself and to value yourself. And you know what? Yeah, this is how God made me, and it's fine. So, I have to, I have to honor it. I have to celebrate it. So I think that's, it definitely kind of just, it pretty much, you ain't have no choice but but to love yourself, because you don't have nothing hiding. You're not, you don't have anything to try to cover up or somewhat, or, it is what it is. It's right there, the canvas is
right,
blank, and it's, then you
right.
just go from there. Absolutely. Yeah.
And you fill in that
Yes.
canvas, right?
Yes.
With the essence of who you
Right.
are. I love
Right.
that. I love those words that you're using, because a lot of times in our society and our culture, Black bodies aren't
Right.
celebrated. They are diminished, and they are made to be presented as something's wrong with Black
Right.
bodies. They don't look right. They don't fit the right
Right.
profile.
Or also,
And
I
and
not to mean to cut you off, but also, I think we also need to get away from the fact, because also we're seem like, especially with women, I mean even men too, that we're sexually objectified,
hmm
and we
hmm
need to, yeah, we need to get away from that. That, that's just not what our bodies are for. We're not just exotic or erotic people that, that is just serve that purpose. We are God's children, and it's, we're here. It's a purpose of why we're here, not just for, sexual pleasure. And I think we need to kind of break that as well, because you see like the videos, and and every, like our women's bodies, and especially Black women's bodies, we're, so we're soft, we're voluptuous, we have, accents to our certain parts that, that everybody, once again, just, it's just for sexual pleasure, and we need to break that. That is, that's not just what we're here for.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I love that. I love that you made that point,
Right.
because one of the things we've been trying to communicate, especially to Black and brown folks, is that notion of our bodies is part of the
Right.
legacy of our colonial
Absolutely.
minds.
Yes.
Where Black and brown bodies were sexualized by the
Yes. Yes.
colonizers, and that was our purpose, to produce kids for the
Right.
plantation, or to make kids, when it came to men, to make folks who were going to fight the fight for the slave
Yes.
owners. And so reclaiming this, having celebrating who we are in our bodies in a non-sexual way, is actually a reclamation of our
Yes.
heritage. Would you
I
agree?
absolutely, absolutely, and I think that's what it's time that we just need to, we need to decolonize that and shut that down, because that's not what we're here for. As as I said earlier, we're God's children, and we need to represent that even in our bare bodies. So
Right.
absolutely.
I I love that. I love that. As I said before, I'm picking up what you're laying down. Um, so tell me, how would you describe yourself? Do you use the word naturist, nudist, or something else to describe what you do and how you live and your way of life as a bare Black
I
person?
still use the word nudist. I would say I'm more on the home nudist side. I haven't really just tapped into the natures, which I am going to try to change that pretty soon. And, that's part of my, going into my journey, and, trying to elevate a little bit more in this lifestyle. But yeah, I mean, I would say as far as a home nudist, I'm definitely very comfortable in my home, or even just a private, sector. If I even take a vacation in, in my in my hotel room, or, if I, like like last year before, the whole pandemic, shut everything down. I went to this tea spa place in Santa Cruz, California. And that beautiful. I mean, it was just such a beautiful experience. And it was basically you rent a room, and it had like a sauna, it had a shower, it had a like a jacuzzi hot tub, and it, private room. Had the whole place to yourself, and then it opened up to these really nice like Chinese windows, and it opened up to this real beautiful Zen garden. So just just it had like just it was just that moment that you can just rent that place for an hour, hour and a half, and you just take in the nature of yourself, and and I was just basically nude and just enjoying nature, and kind of my inside private sector of the hot tub and the sauna and detoxifying, and just really just rejuvenating, and just relaxing. And so yeah, so I feel that there is so many other aspects of being you can still be a private nudist and still just have a fulfilling experience with it and stuff. But yet I still want to, because that's kind of been like my bucket list to, to go out to the beach. And because I love the ocean and stuff. So I definitely want to try that. And, been looking into like water holes. I was really surprised that, there's even some clothing optional water holes, in California area and so forth. So I'm going to check into that and stuff just to kind of, enhance my journey. So yeah.
Right. Broaden your horizons.
Absolutely.
Right? So, but you have been to a naturist park, right? You have been to a naturist venue. Tell us about that experience.
So far I've only been once, but it was on for my 38th birthday. Literally on my birthday, it was shout out to Laguna del Sol, and I went and checked them out. Beautiful place, and I mean, I guess it right along with just another level of freedom of just, being there and literally having this whole place. I mean, they have a lake, they have a store, they have restaurants, they have, you can camp there. They got all these certain places that you can occupy. But the main thing that stood out to me was it literally was a regular family oriented place. It was just nude. Like there was even families, like husband and wife and their kids, and everybody, was just having fun and just relaxing and just doing their thing. I didn't feel like I was being gawked at. I didn't feel uncomfortable, not once. We all was just enjoying our time, just outdoors, getting that sun, kissing our skin, and just relaxing. And so that was kind of like my first time of really, experiencing the naturist side. So that also kind of, motivated me to, I'm like, yeah, I think I need to, kind of tap into that a little bit more. But yeah, the Laguna del Sol experience was definitely a beautiful experience. I really enjoyed it. And it was on my birthday. So, to bring my birthday in with a bang, it was nice.
All right. Well, shout out to Laguna del Sol for providing a good experience to you. So you've got all these things on your bucket list to get into a clothing optional beach and maybe a watering, hot springs, watering hole, that kind of thing. What are some of the benefits that motivate you to pursue some of these experiences? What are the benefits of naturism or nudism that you've found?
I mean,
you talked about self-love, but what else? What else?
I mean, it's still always go back to the main foundation of a spiritual practice. I mean, just being outdoors and in nature and experiencing the elements, that nature can bring to you. That also just enhances you, and stuff. And, just always go back to the freedom of just, just being within yourself and just honoring yourself just in its, authenticity, and just. And then it's just, of course, the health benefits. We all know how, the sun, benefits and how just grounding, whether you're standing, in the sand or standing on grass or standing in, just the ground and just the atoms of the earth that, basically just recharges you and stuff. So it's still just always, for me, the number one factor is spiritual. It always just comes back to that. And, what way to do it is just to be your, bare skin and just really get a full concentrate. How they have like certain, drinks and foods that are concentrated. You got to dilute it. No, you just come right through your skin and and just get the full concentration of the benefits of being nude.
You getting the full dosage,
everything,
right?
Everything.
So How would you describe your experience as a person of color, as a black person uh, in terms of naturism and nudism and what you've experienced so far? How did others react to that and react to you as a black person pursuing these
I
things?
mean, I mean, I guess, you have no choice because that's who I am. So, I mean, yes, I mean, definitely you have a black experience with it. And I mean, I think it is breaking barriers. I think it is like letting the world know that this is something that is pretty normal with us. Actually, this is an indigenous practice with us. And if you realize, even, with our ancestry, back to the motherland and stuff, when you have certain tribes, and even to this day, that they're new, they're, very into their skin and into their body and stuff. And it's not even about being sexually, objectified. It's just being who you are and stuff. And I mean, it was kind of interesting that when I did go to the nude resort, I remember I had someone that responded because of course, I posted on my IG stories, someone that responded, and they was basically asking me what white person influenced you to do this, and I was just like, if anything, that's one thing that I've never had that to be an influence. So, I don't have to have anybody or even a white person to influence anything that I do, and stuff. So I just found that very interesting that it's kind of like it has been suppressed to, that this is not a quote unquote black thing or a brown thing to do and stuff. And, so that kind of was like a very, kind of eye opening. That even kind of made me see, how we are, we can tend to be out of touch with certain things. And that's why it's like, yeah, we need to get back to this type of stuff and, let the world know, yes, we like to do this stuff. Yes, we like to swim. We like to, we like to hike. We like to be in nature. You know what I'm saying? Whether, if you choose not to be a nudist, but yes, we also, there's brown and black people that are nudists and like to enjoy those things as well. It's not just one particular group of, race of people that it's for. It's for us. And it is an indigenous practice. So, we're very much a part of
Right,
this. So that's the key word. It is
right.
an indigenous practice that we need to get back in touch with. It's part of.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's part of the focus that we're going to have coming up for Black History Month is articulating that indigenous that this is an indigenous
Yes.
practice and that black and brown folks can reclaim
Yes.
this and need to reclaim it for all the reasons that you described before, for our health, for our connection with nature, and so on. Now, if you were talking to a black or brown person who was like, I heard you on that podcast, and I'm not sure how to get going on this, or I'm not sure if I'm going to feel comfortable. What tips or ideas, what advice would you share?
I would always say to start small, not to overwhelm yourself. Being a home nudist is the perfect step to start that. I mean, it's simple. Just take a moment by yourself. If say if your home is quiet, you really don't have anybody or don't have anything, going on, and just get in front of your mirror and just, what I'm saying, take your clothes off and just really honor and celebrate and like, what, my beauty or my, my individuality, my, uniqueness is beautiful. And you know what I'm saying? So it's right along with it, accepting that and your spirit within, then you can start really being like, what? Yeah, I'm a pretty cool person. I'm a pretty tight person. I can do this, and then it's just, I mean, just simple things like even if you're around your home, open up your windows, you know what I'm saying? And just, just kind of just still go about your day, and just, but still just be free within yourself, so just those little baby steps. I even one time, I was driving down the highway or kind of, went down this backcountry road and literally just took my top off and rolled the windows down. It was like nobody around. It was like, it was quiet, but just the fact of just like, I pulled off to the side of the road and I just went down the road, and it was just so freeing just to be out. So it's just, little baby steps, and so it's there. Believe me, as much as it's open, there is still a lot of privacy. So, I mean, just take baby steps and just get creative with it and believe it, like little, you'll realize like, oh, I guess I am a nudist, it's just so many ways and so many factors that you can, put into play with it. And it's just, yeah, it's an amazing experience. Don't hold back. Yeah. Go ahead and tap into that. Will change your life. It definitely changed mine.
So I don't have to drop $3,000 and go on a trip somewhere. I could start right
You can
where I
start
am.
right where you are and start. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Right where you are. And believe me, like I mentioned before, as much as things are so open and public, there's a lot of ways you can find the cracks to still celebrate yourself in private. So it's lovely.
Now, I can't let you go without asking you about Mo Pics. You are also into photography.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Tell our listeners about your photography, how you got started, what you do. What do you like to shoot when you shoot photographs?
I can still consider myself a newbie in it, but I mean, overall, I've always just been, a fan of photography, even with the disposable camera and the Polaroid days. I've always, some kind of way, I've always shot a picture and stuff. But just, I would say it does go back to when I did experience the nude photo shoots that kind of motivated me to just tap a little bit more
Okay.
into it and practice a little bit more with myself. And, and then, of course, yourself is like the perfect, person to practice with. So, because you have time, you don't have a rush, you don't have, any pressures from anybody. So you can just take your time and, it doesn't cost much to get a, $8, $10, $12 tripod from Amazon and just, and just try different angles and just practice, different poses so, I just started just, doing that and tapping into that and stuff. And even, when I'm out, I'm just like everybody else. I'm an avid user of my cell phone, camera. And also I have my own, little camera. And I just, whatever just captured my eye, I just take it and then, play around with different filters and, and just edit how I like it. And yeah, so I just been kind of just tapping into it. It really has been just like a habit, not a habit, but like what's the word I'm trying to look for? I can't even think of the word, but basically I have
a pattern.
Yes, a pattern. Yes. And it's just like, but I have been getting a lot of, compliments and people has been, kind of giving me the encouragement to like, yeah, including you, yeah, you probably should really, check into like making this something serious. So I am starting to now, check into, kind of also, evolving in that and taking that to the next level. But yeah, I just, especially just, and then also even back, with myself and in my nudist journey, that's also kind of been another part of my quote unquote home nudist practice, of just, celebrating myself and, working on, different angles and shooting different things with me and, and stuff. And, then it's kind of like, it's very interesting how your body, you can construct your body a certain way. And, and then it's just like, oh, I'm art too. Okay. So it's like, even being a nudist, it brings the artist creative juices out of you as well. So
I love that. I love that. I hope you will participate in February. We're in March, the second Saturday in March is Naked Art Day that we're promoting on the website. And so we're encouraging folks to draw and paint and color and sculpt and photograph and share those with the Naked Art Day hashtag online for Naked Art Day. And the idea behind it was just what you said. Again, when it seems like when we lose the clothing and all those constrictions, creativity starts to get stimulated and really can flow.
Yes.
So, and you do some fantastic self portraits.
Well, thank you.
I love the way you shoot. And so, last thought here is there a connection that you've found? And I think you were touching on it just now between your when you are able to to be just yourself in your natural state, and your connection with your photography, because those self portraits I find to be very inspiring and evocative.
Yes,
They seem to really uh, convey that self-love, that celebration, that honoring that you're talking about.
absolutely.
Do you find that there's a connection between your photography and your nudism?
I do. And I mean, I think it still goes back to like breaking the barriers of what the stigma that is on nudism. And it really just shows you how beautiful nudism can be. And, it still even goes back once again, my main, foundation is a spiritual practice, and in no, seeing your value, seeing, your self-love and your worth, just even by just, standing strong and standing confident, and bold in within yourself. And so I think, yeah, definitely it does play a big part in that, and like I said, like for me, growing up, I never thought I was ugly. I always thought I was cute, but, I never associated myself with being beautiful or sexy. And so since I have been
Mm.
tapped into this world, I can really see that, like, you wouldn't think, cause I'm a person that, I have a soft body, I'm saying I'm a curvy woman, and you of course, with all even the stigma and the stereotypes about a woman that has curves, you wouldn't think, like, oh, my body, I didn't realize my body can pose like that, or can, get into this position and that position. And then it really does become art. So, it definitely does give you a whole different perspective, in that, and once again, in celebrating yourself. So it's once again, it kind of breaks those barriers of what people, the negative aspect of what people think nudist is about. And it really is, it's really not about that. So, you know,
There's that naked
yes,
wisdom again,
yes,
right? That the connecting those two things just brings out a whole nother
it
dimension
does.
of our life and our
Yes,
experience. And it's non-sexual. It's really about affirming who
right,
you are in your own
right,
skin.
right. Yes.
I really appreciate that perspective. You're listening to the Bear, Black, and Brown podcast, and I'm speaking today with my guest, Monique, who is a photographer, emerging photographer, going to blow up any minute now, and describes herself as a practicing home nudist. Check out her photographs on MoPics on Instagram. You will be amazed. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Her eye is fantastic out in nature, the things that she captures, and those self portraits are powerful expressions of self love. Monique, I want to thank you
Thank you.
for coming on the Bear Black and Brown podcast today. Are there any parting words you'd like to share with our listeners
Well,
today?
I just want to take the opportunity to thank you, and I really appreciate, this platform that you have created, just to show that nudism isn't about the negative aspects of what people think it is. Um, it really is a, um, it's like now it's like I'm getting lost for words now. I done pretty much said everything, but basically, I mean, this is just a beautiful thing that it just like it seemed like every time your platform just breaks the barriers of the negative aspects of what it is, and it's like it's very nice that you're cutting through that and letting people know that this is a very diverse culture, and it's something that is really beneficial to help us and to shine and just, let everybody know, yes, we're here. We're here, and we're gonna step into our kingdom. We're gonna step into our kingdom and represent. So I really do appreciate you holding this type of platform to represent that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your participation today, and we can't do it without folks like you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So thanks for coming on, and we will be in touch.
Yes.
We're looking forward to seeing some photographs, maybe for Naked Art Day. You've been listening to the Bear Black and Brown podcast with your host, Earl D. And you can find the Bear Black and Brown podcast on almost every platform out there. We're on Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. And you can find every new episode on the closefreelife.com website.